Watch this moment closely. Mark Zuckerberg sits before Congress, but watch his face. No remorse, no tension, nothing. This wasn't a meme. It was a psychological red flag, because new research shows something terrifying. Extreme wealth can physically rewire the human brain, and empathy is the first thing to disappear.
In the next 8 minutes, I'll show you how power shuts down empathy, why billionaires think differently, and how Zuckerberg became the perfect case study of a rewired brain. To understand what happened, we need to go back to 2004. Harvard. Zuckerberg launches FaceMash rating female students without permission. When he got caught, his apology said everything. "I hope you understand. This wasn't how I meant for things to go. Not, I hurt people. Not, I crossed a line." He apologized for a failed execution, not for causing harm. And that pattern never stopped. 2008, privacy violations. 2010, data manipulation. 2014, emotional contagion experiments. 2016, election interference. 2021, the Instagram mental health leak. Different scandals. Same response. We didn't intend for this to happen. Psychologists discovered something called the power paradox. Give one person even a tiny amount of power, and their brain immediately changes. In the famous cookie study, the person with power always grabs the extra cookie and eats it with their mouth open, showing less awareness, less empathy, less inhibition. MRI scans revealed the shocking part. The empathy regions of the brain literally shut down. As power increases, wealth doesn't just change lifestyle. It alters emotional processing. Now zoom out. Meta laid off 21,000 employees. Internal files revealed Instagram harmed teen mental health. Zuckerberg's response? Not grief, not alarm, just defending the business model. This is the clinical definition of an empathy deficit. Psychologists found something even more disturbing. Narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, known as the dark triad, are far more common in tech CEOs, not because they're evil, but because ruthless efficiency is rewarded at the top. Self-made billionaires show less empathy than inherited billionaires, because they believe their success was purely skill, not luck. This creates the billionaire blind spot, the inability to acknowledge the suffering of anyone who didn't grind their way up. When billions of users are just numbers on a dashboard, human suffering becomes abstract. Layoffs become strategic optimization. Privacy invasions become user experience improvements. Harm becomes data. And Zuckerberg himself revealed the mindset. Move fast and break things. Young people are just smarter. The question isn't what we know about people, it's what they'll share. Empathy isn't missing. It was never part of the plan. We're letting people whose brains are literally less capable of empathy design the digital world we live in. The people building AI can't feel the harm it creates. And we're already seeing the consequences. AI denying healthcare, algorithms amplifying hate, facial recognition misidentifying innocent people. This isn't hypothetical. It's happening right now. And it's designed by people with empathy deficits. Zuckerberg isn't evil. His brain adapted to the power he holds. But that adaptation makes him and other tech billionaires dangerous at scale. His brain was optimized for dominance, not understanding, for efficiency, not compassion, and that brain now shapes the future of communication, privacy, and artificial intelligence. One man with rewired empathy, influencing 3 billion lives.
But here's the part most people miss. The empathy deficit doesn't just affect billionaires. It trickles down. When leaders lack empathy, systems inherit that same blindness. Algorithms don't care who you are. They care what keeps you scrolling. And the people who design them are emotionally detached from the damage they cause. This creates a dangerous illusion. Because when harm is indirect, it doesn't feel real. No screams, no faces, just metrics going up or down. Engagement increases, retention improves, revenue grows, and suffering becomes invisible. This is how moral responsibility disappears. Not through cruelty, but through distance. The farther you are from the consequences, the easier it is to justify them. Psychologists call this moral buffering. When harm is filtered through layers of abstraction, the brain treats it like fiction, which is why executives can ruin lives and still sleep peacefully at night. And it explains something chilling. Why apologies from powerful people always sound the same. We didn't foresee this. This wasn't our intention. We're learning and improving. These aren't lies. They're symptoms. Because empathy requires proximity. You can't feel pain you never experience. You can't understand harm you never see. And power ensures you see less and less of it. This is why tech leaders rarely change course, until public pressure becomes unbearable. Not because they don't care, but because their brains don't register the harm as urgent. To them, it's noise. Now zoom out even further. This isn't just about Zuckerberg, or Meta, or Silicon Valley. This is about how modern power reshapes humanity. For most of human history, power was local. If you harmed someone, you saw the consequences. You heard the anger. You felt the backlash. Empathy was unavoidable. But today, power is abstract. One decision affects millions, yet feels personal to no one. And the human brain was never designed to handle that scale. That's the real danger. Not evil intentions, not secret conspiracies, but outdated biology operating modern systems. When you combine ancient brains with godlike influence, you don't get wisdom, you get blind spots. And those blind spots are now shaping AI. The next generation of technology is being trained on data, optimized for efficiency, and guided by leaders who struggle to emotionally grasp the harm it causes. Which means the empathy deficit is no longer just human. It's becoming automated. AI systems learn priorities from their creators. What gets rewarded? What gets ignored? What gets sacrificed? If empathy isn't part of the equation, neither is human well-being. That's why we're seeing the same pattern repeat. Efficiency over fairness. Scale over safety. Growth over humanity. Different tools. Same mindset.
If this video opened your eyes to the psychology of power, leave a comment and subscribe for the next deep dive, because this is just the beginning.